a couple of seconds. I'm going to be live on Facebook here and I'm going to start. But thanks so much for joining. I'm starting to do these lives on Sunday nights instead of Wednesday afternoons. So I'm now starting these every other Sunday at 7 p.m. And now we're in Eastern Daylight Time. So we just switched our clocks back. That was fun. So how are you guys doing tonight? Today, I am answering this question that I got on my YouTube channel. If you have questions, feel free to submit them to me. Feel free to, if you're joining me on the live here tonight, feel free to write them in the comments as well. My dog heard something outside, so he might be spazzing. So today I am talking about the importance of networking, and basically the question I got is, how important is networking in wildlife biology careers? As you might have guessed, it is very important. Yeah, the answer is it's very important for your career. And some people think that networking is way more important than experience. I haven't personally had that experience. I feel like experience still trumps networking, and I will give you an example. But networking can never hurt you. You want to network as much as you can, and I'll give you a couple of tips as to what that might look like in this career. And I want to also say that I think some people get really worried about like how they're starting out, like how what their first job is going to be. And especially the advice I give a lot of times is to try to figure out what you want to do so then you can get the experience that most closely aligns with what you want to do. But if you're just starting out, you really just want to try to get your first position. So what you do in the beginning might not necessarily relate even at all to what you want to do at the end. So for example, I started out and I did some volunteer research at my university in an ecology lab. And in that lab, they were actually studying the sexual selection of flower beetles. So flower beetles, not even in their natural environment, and it was a lab species. And sexual selection was not something I was interested in. I was more interested in conservation. But this gave me lab experience that eventually got me my second internship at Disney's Animal Kingdom in a hormone lab there. And I love that internship. And there's no way I would have got that internship if it wasn't for this flower beetle volunteer work that I did in in undergrad. So you want to try to get out there as much as possible, meet as many people as possible, and get people to know you. In that case, the flower beetle people really didn't help me land that job, but it was my experience of working in the laboratory. So again, okay, so networking is really important, but I do want to reiterate that it's not the end-all, be-all. So I had several jobs here in North Carolina where I knew the people. I was actually already working for the people. I had 3 jobs, actually 3 interviews. So like they knew me, they liked me, they knew I was a good worker because I was already working with them. I obviously didn't get fired during this time. And I still didn't get those jobs because there was someone more qualified than me or had the more appropriate experience that they wanted. So networking, yes, it definitely can get you some jobs. But in my experience, if you are really qualified for that job, then and you have the appropriate experience, then they will hire you even above people that they know because they want people to hit the ground running. The employers do. They want their employee to hit the ground running and to begin research as soon as possible. So if you're not that great of a networker, you absolutely can get a job. It's not the end all be all. But it is very important. In fact, I saw this tweet like, I don't know, a couple of months ago, especially it was about working in big cats, which is a really competitive field. And she said that she gets advice all the time on, I think this tweet is on my wildlife biologist FAQ post. I can put it in the comments here. But she said that she gets asked all the time, how do I get to work with big cats? Like, what steps did you take? And she says, like, honestly, like, a lot of it was just luck for her, that she knew people and one thing led to the other. So it just really demonstrates the importance of networking. Also, when you're working in certain jobs, I've heard this happening in governments a lot. A lot of times, even if the job is advertised, they are still hiring internally. And a lot of times they know the people that they're going to hire, but legally they have to advertise the job. So that's another case where where networking is very important. Hi, so someone says they're from Indonesia. That's awesome. I would love to go to Indonesia. I have been to Malaysia, but not Indonesia, and I loved Malaysia. So, couple of tips for networking. I'm not going to go too in depth, but if this is a topic you really like, let me know. Write in the comments. You can send me emails. I have thought about making a networking class or workshop, so if this is something you're interested in, let me know. So, conferences. Conferences are so great to network at. And you don't even have to go to the conference to network. So I highly recommend you join Twitter. I have a whole blog post about Twitter and how it is so important for networking, even outside of, even outside of communicating your own research. So when conferences happen, they use certain hashtags. So you can follow the conference, you can respond to people, you can interact with the presenters, you can ask questions. So this is a really great way to start networking. Some people have developed professional careers from Twitter, like professional relationships. Actually, that happened to me. So with March Mammal Madness, which is going on right now, this is a whole science communication competition that is run online through Twitter. And it's run by scientists. And I was actually on a recent paper about March Mammal Madness because I created the educational components for it for K through 12 students. And I did this just because I knew this person through Twitter. So she invited me and she knew me. We never met in real life. We only know each other from Twitter. So I highly recommend getting it on Twitter. Network, and when you go to conferences in real life, I know that we're not going to conferences right now, but we will soon. Yay! Oh, I learned about Twitter at a conference. Yes, Twitter is so awesome. Even if you don't tweet that much, it's great for networking and for learning about science and what's going on in our field too. So where was I? At conferences, this is a great place to network. You can just talk to people in line when you're getting your dinner or when you're they have like coffee breaks. Just like start talking to people for real. Just be like, what did you think of the opening plenary? Or I'm really excited for this plenary. And then just start saying like, oh, cool, you work at, because everyone wears badges with their workplace. You work at the USGS. I've always wanted to work there. I wonder what it's like working there. You know, like what's your research like? People love talking about themselves. They love it. So the more that you can get somebody talking about themselves, which is just asking them questions and being genuinely interested, they will love you because you let them talk about themselves and you acted like you're interested, and you probably were interested. I always am interested. And yeah, so people will like you. And I mean, you're not going to like have permanent relationships with everyone, but I, for real, have friends that I met like one time at a conference. And because we just started randomly talking, we ended up like going to dinner, and then now we're Facebook friends. And now with like the upcoming conference, the same conference, I'm like, are you going? And we only met each other one time at one conference. So yeah, definitely just strike up like random conversations. I also have a blog post on this, how to talk to people at conferences, because it is intimidating. Ahead of conferences, look up people who you're interested in meeting and emailing them and see if you can meet with them for 10, 15 minutes or take them out to lunch or out to coffee at the conference. That's a really another great way to network with people. You can network with people now too. You can, if you're interested in somebody's job, you can send them an email. Keep it short and say like, I am, and do some research too. You don't have to do a ton of research, but make sure you know a little bit about them. and say, I am really interested at working at the USGS. Your research seems super cool. Would it be okay if I chat with you on the phone for no more than 15 minutes? Because people are busy. So if you say, like, I have a bunch of questions and I would like to email you these questions, I would say no, or more likely to say no, because it's going to take me a long time to type out those answers. But if you want to call me for 15 minutes, sure, I can fit you in. And there are so many people out there who feel exactly the same way. They are nice. They want to talk to you about this career. They want to help people. So don't be scared to reach out to people. In one of my courses, I had a student. I featured her on my podcast. She reached out to our curator of herpetology at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. I can't even remember what she asked him, but she didn't ask for anything like special. Like, she just asked him a question. And I think she expressed her interest, though. I think she just, said she's interested in herpetology. And he invited her to come to the museum. She didn't ask to be invited. He invited her to come to the museum, and she got an internship out of it. So they must have clicked during when he was inviting her. He was showing her around and stuff, and they really hit it off. And she got an internship out of it. So you just never know where things are going to go. If you get no's or if you get ignored, that's fine. That's normal. You can follow up. People get so many different emails from so many different people that if you follow up, a lot of people are happy that you followed up with them because they forget to email you. And if they're not, then it's a no, and that's okay because you had a no to begin with in the first place, so you didn't lose anything. Let me think of something else. Does anyone have any questions while I'm blabbing about? Those are probably my favorite networking tips. Oh, here's another one. Anytime you meet anyone professionally, add them to your LinkedIn or hook up with them on LinkedIn. Don't hook up with them. Connect with them on LinkedIn. So you want to have a bio, and at the very least, you want to have a LinkedIn page. And when I say a bio, I mean a website. I also have a blog post on that. I'm going to be writing a lot of notes here. So anytime I meet somebody at a conference, I actually, that night at the conference, you can like save their card, or I take pictures of maybe I ask them to take a picture of their name, or I write it down, and then that night I usually go and add them as a friend or as a connection on LinkedIn. And that is so great if you have upcoming job interviews in the future, even years down the line, because you can say like, oh yeah, I met you at this conference. They might not remember you. That's okay. But it's still an in. So yeah, that's another really great tip. Okay, so somebody asked, have you heard of Purdue's wildlife program, and is it good? I have not. Honestly, my opinion is your degree doesn't matter that much. I know that sounds really strange, but my degree was in biology. My PhD was in biology. I didn't specialize in wildlife biology. I was in the ecology department. Yes, if you can get into like a specific wildlife program, that's obviously going to be better. But I wouldn't go out of my way to get to have a lot of debt and do an expensive program for your bachelor's. I would spend that money instead on like volunteering and getting experience. So I say volunteering because a lot of these jobs don't pay well, or to get your first job, you honestly probably have to volunteer. And I totally know that that's unfair. I know it favors the wealthy. I know all this stuff. But it is just the reality of the situation as it is right now. There's nothing I can do about it. And I just want to be honest with you. If you go to get your bachelor's and you're expecting to get a job out right away with no experience, unless you volunteered in a lab at your undergrad, which is what I did, you can get college credit for that. You can get paid for that if there's a work-study program at your school. But without that experience, honestly, I don't see you being able to get a job unless you really know someone, because it's just so competitive out there. So rather than spend tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in an undergrad in a specific wildlife program, I think it's so much better for you to go to a cheaper school. Just make sure you get either a science degree, or you can even get the science classes. So some of my friends in my PhD program, they had degrees in English and Russian, in education, but they had experience, and that's what let them be in the PhD program. Um, so so yeah, I wouldn't worry so much about your degree and where you go. I would worry more about what experiences you can get. And like I said, if you're not as investing as much into college, then you might be able to save and be able to either take those low paying jobs over the summer or do a volunteer opportunity. So yeah, so those are my 2 cents. So I don't think we have any more questions. If you do, you can type now or forever hold your peace. I am going to head out now and work on my application for the International Congress for Conservation Biology in Rwanda this year. Is anyone else going? I'm really hoping I get accepted because I definitely want to go. Okay, we got another question. What are good places to study abroad in college? I don't know of any, like, I don't have any specific recommendations. I did the School for Field Studies in Kenya. I think now they're only in Tanzania in terms of Africa, but they do have other locations around the world. So I loved them, but no, that's okay. I'm here to answer your question, so you guys can ask as many questions as you want. So where was I? I don't think it matters what study abroad program you go to. I think again it's more about the experience, and if you know what you want to do. So like using that example of the woman who was interested in herpetology, she did a study abroad program. Actually, no, that's how she got introduced to herpetology. Okay, so maybe that's a bad example. But say if you want to go into ornithology, studying birds, then I would try to choose a program that's either focused on that, or where there will definitely be opportunities on that, or maybe a location you want to work in the future. Those are some of the things I would consider. But honestly, again, it doesn't matter that much. I would consider like where do you want to work in the future? If if you could get in a study abroad program where you can have really remote experience, that is helpful too, because then if you apply for a job that it says you'll be living in the middle of nowhere and you're going to have to backpack like 10 miles a day, then your study abroad experience can help you. If you are interested in working internationally at all, I highly recommend doing study abroad, because just the fact that you are able to travel and live in a remote place, often ecology programs are in developing countries, that says a lot about your character, that you can do it. It's tough. Like, not everyone can do it. I worked for the School for Field Studies in Kenya for a year. I went through 4 different sets of students. So many of them complained. So many of them were difficult to work with. And if they applied for something, I would remember them and be like, this person complained all the time. And so the fact that you want to do something like that again, what you have gone through, then the people have more confidence in hiring you about that. What conference I'm applying for? I'm applying for the International Congress for Conservation Biology. So I'm going to try to do a science communication workshop there. And then I'm also applying for a workshop on behalf of Wildlife Insights, which is this international camera trapping organization where we are aggregating literally all the camera trap data from all over the world to be the largest aggregation of camera trap data, so that scientists can analyze it, not just us. But scientists can analyze it to understand animals better. Rather than having all these camera trap data in isolated places, we can aggregate them and learn a lot more about wildlife. So I love, if you've never gone to ICCB, it's awesome. I love it. It is my favorite conference. It is so much fun, and they always have it in amazing locations. They also have a North America meeting every year, every other year. So every other year it's international, and then the opposite years it's here in, North America. It's not in the United States, it's in North America. And, okay, let's move to another question. Is it better to do varied internships, one mammal, one bird, one herb, or to focus on one thing? I don't know what I want to focus on. Okay, if you know what you want to focus on, then focus on that thing. So it would be much better. The more specialized you can become, honestly, the better, as long as you know that there's jobs for that out there. So I have a job tracker. Look at the job boards now. Make sure you know what the patterns of those jobs are, like how often they're available, where you would live, where you would work. I say that because for my PhD, I got a degree in non-invasive, or my dissertation was on non-invasive genetics in elephants. So people saw me as an elephant biologist, or they saw me as a geneticist. In elephants, it's really difficult to have a job here in the United States. There's very few zoo jobs, unless you wanted to go into academia. And I never wanted to go into academia. So look at the types of jobs that are out there now and get familiar with how competitive they are, how often they come up. If you don't know what you want to do, then yes, of course, I recommend that you try a bunch of different things and see what you like. And again, think about the long-term thing. So a lot of people say follow your passion. I think that's bad advice. That's what I did. I followed my passion. I loved studying elephants. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. But I knew I ultimately wanted a job in the United States, probably like the southeastern United States, and I didn't realize how specialized the fields were. And given that I wanted a job ultimately in the southeastern United States, I should have studied something that I wanted, that I could have gotten a job in. So for example, like bears or deer. I'm trying to think of other mammals in here. It's like for state wildlife biologists, like fur bearers or game species, although I wasn't really interested in working with agencies. But anyway, yeah, so I studied my passion, which was elephants, and then I found out the jobs for elephants were really in Africa and Asia. And by that point, I was married and we had pets, and I wasn't willing to move there. So it's just jobs where you could study elephants in the United States were very few and far between, except for academia. Well, academia is also very competitive too. It's not like you can just easily get a job in academia. So yeah, try different things. You can also do citizen science too. That's another great way to try things without a big commitment. So mammals, it might be harder, but you can go to scistarter.org and look for citizen science projects. Birds, I mean, you definitely can do citizen science. You can do eBird on your own. And I mean, eBird's like a variation of what birders do. It's essentially like I mean, you can mimic what wildlife biologists do. You can do different point counts and go to a certain location and count as many birds as you can, many species as you can, and log it in eBird. And you can do that every single day and pretend it's like your job. Pretend it's like a volunteer job for you, and see if you like doing that. See if you like studying birds. Mammals, there's a lot of camera trap projects online, so you can definitely spend time looking at camera trap images, stuff like that. But there's a lot of cool citizen science out there. Okay, well, thanks guys. Let me know if you have any more questions. You can send me messages. I am very available. I love hearing from you guys. So I like helping you guys. Like I just feel like so much of the advice is bad out there. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're amazing too. But I really feel like so much of the information is outdated and bad out there. And I went through this, and I want you guys to know what you're getting into. And it's competitive, yes, but when you when you have a strategy, it is so much easier, and you can absolutely get a job. So I know a lot of people panic and they're worried about the competitiveness. And I don't think you have to be worried. You just have to have a strategy. You have to niche down and figure out what you want to do and like aim for that job. I think a lot of reason why people have a hard time getting a job is they're applying for jobs they're not competitive for. Actually, on my social media, I've been talking about that because I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a resume and cover letter workshop. I did one last year, and I think I'm going to update it. So if you want more information on that, you can get on my email list. I'll be sending out emails about it soon. But yeah, I think people are not strategic about the jobs that they're applying for. And that's what happened to me. After I got my PhD, I applied for jobs. I just thought it was like a blanket degree. I thought it would qualify me for a lot of jobs, and I found out that it didn't, that you need more specialization. So that's why I'm here. It's part of my job when I'm my new job, giving you guys advice and doing science communication. And it's been a lot of fun. I really like it. So have a happy Sunday. Great start to the week, to your Monday, and see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.